Is it? Does it feel strange to have a child while this craziness is going? Does it feel? You've had children before. Is this any weirder?
It's actually, I think it's better being older and having a kid. I appreciate it more. Yeah, babies are basically, and you can sort of see it learning very quickly. It's just wow.
See things. So you're talking about the neural net. You're not talking about an actual baby.
I'm talking about an actual baby.
But both of them.
Yes, but the word neural net comes from the brain. It's like a net of neurons. So,
what kind of devices?
Well, like deep brain stimulation is, I think for Parkinson's has really changed people's lives in a big way, which is kind of remarkable because it kind of like zaps your brain. It's like kicking the TV type of thing. And you think like, man, that's like a microcontroller in your muscle groups. You could then create a sort of a neural shunt that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality. Like they can walk around, including the entire sensory experience.
Emotions. Everything.
And play it back.
Do you think you'll be able to share?
You can edit it.
Edit it.
Yeah.
So you can change your past?
You could change what you think was your past, yeah.
Well, so if you had like a traumatic
this whole thing
experience,
right now could be a replayed memory.
It could be.
Yeah.
But if it's not, the idea that it's not is for some strange reason disconcerting.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it should be disconcerting because then if this is not real, what is?
Right.
But there's that old sort of thought experiment of like, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? Right now.
You're constantly changing your state with love and oxytocin and beauty.
Sure.
Changes your state. Great music changes your state.
Absolutely. And here's another sort of interesting idea, which is, because you can say like, where did consciousness arise?
Right. When do we call it? When do we call it consciousness?
Yeah.
I was watching a video today that we played on a podcast earlier of a monkey riding a motorcycle down the street, jumps off the motorcycle and tries to steal a baby.
Yeah, I saw that one. They went viral.
What is that monkey conscious? It seems like it is. It seems like it had a plan. It was riding a fucking motorcycle. Yeah.
I had a feeling.
But the fact that a human did it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that it'll be like electronic music? Like people won't appreciate it like they appreciate a slide guitar?
I like electronic music.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, you make it. I know you like
Sure.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope the future is more fun and interesting, and we should try to make that way.
I hope it's more fun and interesting too.
Yeah.
I just hope we don't lose anything along the way.
Yeah, we might lose a little,
Well,
but hopefully we gain more than we lose.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Gaining more than we lose. Like something that makes us interesting is that we're so flawed.
It's not for sure. To the world, like I actually sort of sympathize with the anti-globalization people because it's like, man, we don't want everyone everywhere to be the same for sure, and then we need some kind of like mind viral immunity. So that's it's a bit concerning.
Mind viral immunity, meaning that once something like Neuralink gets established, the real concern is something that, you said it's Bluetooth, right? Or
Sure.
some future version of that. That the idea is that something could possibly get into it, fuck it up.
No, I'm talking about like there's some cockeyed concept that that happens right now. It's not like plastic surgery or something. It's more like my hip is, I'm in extreme pain because my hip's blown out, or my knee, and I don't want to go to the hospital. I can't go to the hospital people in extreme pain, people that need a kidney, like people that have like quite serious issues that are choosing not to go out of fear. So I think.
Cut holes in their head.
No, like I said, if somebody's got a serious brain injury,
right,
and there people that have like very severe brain injuries, and then you can fix those brain injuries and about a lot. There's, like I said, there's not something that's going to sneak up on you. You know, there's like getting FDA approval for this stuff is not like overnight. You know, and
But if you just sit down and think about this iteration, the next, onward, keep going, and you drag it out with improvements along the way, and leaps and bounds and technological innovations, and where do you see it? What are we going to be?
like when?
25 years from now, what are we going to be? Why is it so disconcerting, or why does it not give me comfort to think about, like when I think about a symbiotic connection to AI, I always think of this cold, emotionless sort of thing that we will become. Is that a bad way to look at it?
I don't think that's not correct. That's not how it would be. Like I said, you already are.
Yeah. How long will you wait? Like once it starts becoming available.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, I'll do it. Sure.
Right away.
I mean, let's make sure it works.
How do we make sure it works? We try it on prisoners? Like, what do you do?
No. Yes, I mean, and we're not talking about just some of these elective procedures are quite important.
Yes.
Like it's like you have a bad heart.
Gallbladder disease. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you need a triple bypass. It's like sort of elective, but if you don't get it done in time, you're going to die.
Yeah.
But like we should be, I think, less concerned about like relative capabilities between people and more like having AI be vastly beyond us and decoupled from human will. Symbiosis. So the way your brain works right now, you've got kind of like the animal brain, reptile brain, kind of, for argument's sake, it's like the limbic system basically, and you've got the cortex. That people are quite happy having both. So you can think of this as being like the computer, the AI is like a third layer, a tertiary layer. So that is like that could be symbiotic with the cortex. It would be much smarter than storing terabytes of information perfectly, doing incredible calculations that we couldn't even come close to doing. You have that with your computer. It's just like I said, the data rate is slow. The connection is weak.
Themselves. I mean, you don't necessarily want to be there when the shit hits you.
Sure.
You might want to get out of the way in anticipation of the shitstorm, but the fact that so many people have the ability to reach out, and I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's, I don't want to say a misused resource, but it's like giving monkeys guns. The Twitter wars. It seems like there's something about it that's this newfound thing that I don't want to say abuse, but just I want to say that it's almost like, you hit the button and things blow up. You're like, wow, what else can we blow up? It's like, it's so crude, and especially when you're talking about something like Neuralink. You're talking about some future potential where you're going to be able to express pure thoughts that get conveyed through some sort of a universal language with no ambiguity whatsoever, versus tweets.
Well, there'll always be some ambiguity, but
yeah,
tweets it's hard. Like maybe there should be like a sarcasm flag or something,
Right.
Or I'm not, just kidding or whatever, like that,
It seems like it would take away some of the fun from people that know it's sarcasm. Like if everybody, weareNobullshit.com, like the one place where you can say, this is what we know, this is what we don't know, this is what we think, not this person's wrong and here's why. Like, oh, God damn it. I can't. You don't know. Retail stores opening up. Things are changing. Like no one knows the correct process that needs to take place to save the most amount of lives, but yet ensure that our culture and that our economy survives. It's a lot of speculation.
You should have the right to do that.
And it seems like at this point in time particularly, our resources would be best served protecting the people that are at risk versus penalizing the people that are not at high risk for living their life the way they did, particularly having a career and making a living and feeding your family, paying your bills, keeping your store open, keeping your restaurant open.
Yes. I mean, there's a strong downside to this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just believe, like, if this is a free country, you should be, allowed to do, what you want as long as it does not endanger others.
But that's the thing, right? People, this is the argument they will bring up. Like, you are endangering others. You should stay home for the people that you even if you're fine, even if you know you're going to be okay, there's certain people that will not be okay because of your actions. They might get exposed to this thing that we don't have a vaccine for, we don't have universally accepted treatment for, and then we need to. There's two arguments, right? The one argument is we need to keep going, protect the weak, protect the sick, but let's open up the economy. The other argument is stop placing money over human lives, and let's shelter in place until we come up with some sort of a decision, and let's figure out some way to develop some sort of a universal basic income plan or something like that to feed people during this time while we make this transition.
I think there's a as I said, my opinion is if somebody wants to stay home, they should stay home. And if somebody doesn't want to stay home, they should not be compelled to stay home. That's my opinion.
Do you think
if somebody doesn't like that, well, that's my opinion. So clear up the data. So, like I said, somebody should be recorded as COVID only if it is somebody has been tested, has received a positive COVID test, not if they simply have symptoms, one of like 100 symptoms. And then so then they're like, okay, well, the stimulus bill says if we get all this money, if we say if it's a COVID death, I'm like, okay, they coughed before they died. It says you simply need to have had one of many symptoms and then have died for some reason, and it's COVID. So then it makes the death count look very high, and then we're then stuck in a bind because it looks like the death count's super high and not going down like it should be. And now just parse out the data. Don't lump it all together.
No. And
then if you give people, just parse out the data better, clearer information about like I said, was this an actual COVID diagnosis, or was it or did they get the test and the test came back positive, or do they just have some symptoms? Just parse those two out, and then parse out just if somebody died, did they die? Did they even have a COVID test, or did they just have one of many symptoms? Like how do you die without weakness? I don't know.
And we have a finite existence no matter what.
We do. Nobody lives forever.
Right.
I mean, I think you want to look at, say, deaths as like but for this disease or whatever, they would have lived X number of years.
Yeah.
They lost 1 year.
Yes.
So it's like how many life years were lost is probably the right metric to use.
I don't read my own comments, but I do read other people's comments. And I was reading this one little Twitter beef that was going on where someone was saying that COVID takes an average of 10 years off people's lives, and we should appreciate those 10 years. And then someone else said...
It's not true.
I'm sure it's not true.
Yeah, definitely
It's
not.
the Twitter. It's the
Oh,
world.
my God.
But someone else said the average age of people who die from COVID is older than the average age people die.
It's very... Let's say it's like it's about the same.
That's a beautiful...
be healthier. It's do not eat right before we're going to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst things you could do.
Some of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. I've done that, particularly after comedy shows. I'm starving.
Sure.
I'll come home and I'll eat, and then I go to bed and I just feel like shit. And I wake
But yeah, this is like I learned this like quite late in life. It's like just avoid having alcohol and avoid eating at least 2 or 3 hours before going to sleep, and your quality of your quality of sleep will improve, and your general health will improve a lot.
For sure.
This is health, but yeah, especially if I'm out like say working on Starship or something in South Texas, and I'm just living in I got a little house there in Boca Chica Village, and I don't have much to do, so or like I'm working and I'll just do just lift some weights or something, But if I prefer not to exercise, but if I'm going to exercise and lift some weights and then kind of run on the treadmill and maybe watch a show that if there's a compelling